Yes, my name is Randy Simmons, and I'm the president of a local nonprofit called We Agape You. And we're here with the Joe Painter Show, and we have a guest, the pioneer, the great Mr. Craig Poole, and we're here just to hold a little conversation, just to inform the public about what it is we do, and hopefully address some of the plans and purpose of Mr. Craig Poole here on Penn Street. So, Joe Painter, would you tell us how we came to be able to be on your show and how we met and how we took you in and a little bit about that, please?
There's always a beginning, right? And I picture it as a seed in the ground that blossoms into a beautiful flower. And I heard about We Agape You, and I saw tent cities, and I heard about this gentleman named Randy Simmons who was determined to help people right here in this community, no questions asked. So I thought, well, I have to find out about this. And then Randy invited me to a tent city visit along with some other media, and we talked with some homeless people and experienced what it must be like to be living in a tent and how you might like to get out of that situation at a time when jobs are hard to come by. So I got to know Randy, and I said, Randy, why? Why did you start We Agape You? And even before that, what does We Agape You mean?
Well, agape is Greek for Christ-like love, and that's what we do. Our mission is to demonstrate Christ-like love anywhere and everywhere. We don't discriminate no matter who you are or no matter what's going on. We're here to serve and help people. That's our mission.
I have to ask you, what made you start this?
Well, with Reading having such an epidemic right now of homelessness as well as abandoned houses, and then seeing people like my friend Miss Conrad, where rats were biting her up, and she's in Runnersville now, and all kinds of stuff. The veterans, homeless, people suffering. It just got to me and my wife, and we started off with a little nonprofit, and now it has morphed and evolved into what it is present day.
Have you experienced people in the community seeing what you're doing and saying, how can I help?
Every day, all the time. I'm glad you brought that up. So many different businesses, so many different nonprofits, banks have all reached out to us in hopes to be able to father our mission and help people. All kinds of bankers and so forth. And we also have a great friend. We Agape You has a great friend, and Mr. Craig Poole. And I'm going to let him share with you how it is that he came to be able to want to work with us and let us grow with him and teach us. Because as you know, he is a pioneer.
Hi, I'm Craig. Thank you, Randy. I met Randy, he called me actually and said, I heard about you and I know you're doing this hotel, and can we take some time and break some bread together and learn about each other and where we want to go to in life? And I learned about We Agape You what I liked about it is that Randy was out in the field, on the street, in the dirt, meeting the people. And he has the perspective that I like, which is he understands some people are going to be homeless because it's by choice, and some people are homeless because it's not by choice. And we talked about the 60 people under a bridge, and that day he said, you know what? I said to him, Randy, how many people really want to get out? He said, I know 6 right now. And I thought, okay, if you just said 1, that was important to me. And the 6 is important because these are the people we have to get out first, the people that want to be out. So he had a mission. He wanted to get some houses that are vacant, and I'm not into vacant houses, and I thought, okay, this is a good man with a good vision. And I've worked within a homeless community since the early 70s, and I've had a good experience of some people don't want to be, they want to be homeless, and that's their choice. But the people that don't want to, it's not their choice. We need to help get them out of it and get them rolling. and the other people we need to keep warm. But we still, if we can help supply them and help keep them warm and get them through the winter, that's what we want to do. But there's other people that don't want to be homeless, and they're inside of that. And Randy has a heart to pull them out, not save the world, but save one person at a time. And I really like that he was focused on one person at a time. And he came to me because he knows we're opening a hotel up, and hotels are hospitality, and we don't intend to be a shelter, but we intend on employing people so they don't become homeless, so we can get people off the social system into the real system. And I've had many experiences. I had a little nonprofit. It was not a nonprofit. It was I called it Park Bench to Crib back years ago. We get people employed, and it's a process. It's not an easy process of getting someone that's been on the street for 20 years or 10 years or even 5 years and to get them back into society. So I wanted to be I want to find, and I will, a few homeless people that have that shouldn't be homeless. Something happened in their lives. It could have been a Vietnam vet that something happened, and if I can get him his job, get him integrity, get him his self-worth back, and again, become the person that God meant him to be, then that's what we want to do. But he also needs shelter, so and transitional shelter as we get him into full-time shelter. So I think businesses like myself and actually anybody, we all should be chipping in, doing the best we can to reach out to people, not just in kind, but doing kind by employing, teaching, loving, and working through the process from being homeless for so many years to being living in a home, having an income, having a family, raising children. Because somewhere along the line we have to break that chain of homelessness, or it's going to get passed on to generation after generation. We have a responsibility as people, whether you own a business or don't, to help people get back whole, if not for them, for the generation that follows, because it's all about planting seeds. We're going to take in homeless, and that's a seed. And hopefully that seed flourishes. But you know what? Once you plant a seed, it's going to grow somewhere. And they might go back homeless again, but they had a taste of it. They had the seeds been planted, and hopefully they'll want to get out of it. So that's what I do, and I like Randy's philosophy of getting him into a home. He knows who to take out right away, because you have to have successes. A lot of people just do things and they don't realize they're enabling. And you don't want to be. God has people in a place, and not that God wants them to be homeless, but maybe that's what they need to get to be home full. And we don't want to interfere with his plan. So he has people like Randy and other people out in the villages, walking and learning about people, and saying, okay, we can pull you, we can take you, we can take you. And those are the people we have to pull out. But we don't want to. Enabling is not, the social system here is a very enabling social system. I don't think is encouraging to want to get a job. It's not encouraging to want to get a home, because so many people are taking care of me. So when you pull somebody out and you get them at home with other people like them, I also want to be out. If he pulled those 6 people and he put them in a home, and each of those 6 people wanted to get out, and they were to sit down at a table like a family sits down at a table and eat great food, because poor people deserve great food also, and they have conversation because poor people deserve great conversations, and they all went to bed at a certain time because poor people deserve to be treated like a family, and they woke up and they had a family in the morning, then they're going to grow whole again. But you have to start somewhere, and he's doing something I'm not doing, which he's under the bridge, and I'm not under the bridge. So you want to support people. I've been under the bridges. I haven't been.
That's why you're from Pittsburgh.
I haven't been here, but I meet them on the street. Yeah. I just came down. I met 2 homeless people here a few months ago, and I sat down. We talked together, and I just saw them walking up the street, and they stopped me. They recognized me. And they said, when's the hotel opening? And I said, when I'm open. And they were cheering me on. Yeah. And these are 2 guys that have, you can see that they've had a pretty hard street life. Mm-hmm. They're pretty calloused. but they want to be recognized. They want to be appreciated. There's some hope in their eyes, and that's very critical. Is that hope, and we have to give people hope. Even the ones who want to be homeless, we have to give them hope not to want to be homeless.
There's a huge thing going on that we're talking about right here in this room. New beginnings all the way around. We Agape U is new. The Doubletree Hotel, new for the city of Reading. Both are providing hope. And as you said so eloquently, Craig, you're attacking it from different angles. You are unique among business persons where often the first priority is to, be hugely successful. And that's not to say that's not your priority, but integrated with that is, how can I help people in this community and raise that self-worth? And both of you are saying one at a time. You also, Randy, are saying, boy, this homeless problem, it's huge. What can we do? We got to be able to do something more than a blanket or food, and that's not diminishing blankets and food. Very, very necessary. But the next step, finding shelter. And then with Craig, finding the job. You said something interesting, Craig. You said, we enable in this society, and many of our government programs are absolutely enabling. And it's so daunting and so big, people just give up.
Right.
But the two of you are not willing to give up. You want to do it differently so that you're not enabled and beholden to a system, rather yourself, your own integrity, and your own responsibility.
Right. Let me tell you a quick story.
Please.
I'm walking on 8th and Penn. It's 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, and a man, he doesn't know that I'm going to be running the hotel. And I said, that's a pretty cool hotel over there, isn't it? He goes, do you know how many? And this man looked at me, square in the eye, and he said, do you know how many homeless people we could feed and shelter with the amount of money they're spending in that hotel? And I said, do you know how many people we're going to feed and employ that's going to keep people from being homeless? Wow. So it's one looks at as enabling. Mm-hmm. We could give all this money to the homeless and keep them homeless.
Right.
It's like, I want to keep you homeless. I don't want to keep you homeless. I don't want to support anything to keep them there if it's not good.
Right.
But that's what his mind was. We could take all that money and we could create this great homeless society. I'm like, whoa. Mm-hmm. Imagine if the hotel employs great people and they all have jobs and they don't go homeless. Think about that. And that's what we do. We don't want. It's not that we don't. We want to stop it. Mm-hmm. And you got to stop it through employment. You got to stop it through housing. You got to stop it. You got to stop it by loving people. You can't, recognizing and appreciating. Like those two guys a little while ago, they look at me like we're friends, and we are. I shake their hands, they shake mine. I don't look at them any different than I look at you or anybody else. Yep. They know that people are not stupid. So when we start looking at people and treating people, we're all the same flesh. We're all God's flesh. Nobody said one flesh is better than the other, one color is better than the other. It's one flesh, one God. And they're the same. I had better breaks than them, but that doesn't give me the right to look down at somebody or to treat somebody. It gives me the right to say, can I pull you up? How can I pull you back into the world that you belong to? Not the other world. And the other thing is, it's expensive to have these homeless cities.
Very
through the healthcare system.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably the most expensive thing in the city is poverty.
How about that?
So there's another thing in common here, and that is how many of us at any given time or in any city anywhere and walked blindly past homeless, almost not looking, lest that be you there, or ignoring it. And both of you are absolutely committed to noticing and saying hello and helping and making a difference rather than go, well, if I don't look, I can pretend it's not there. You're not pretending, you're making a difference.
That homeless guy might have spent 10 years in Vietnam.
Yes, absolutely.
That homeless guy might be a concert violinist. Mm-hmm. That homeless guy could be the next great whatever. It's just
could be any one of us.
Their situation is what it is. That's all. It's just a situation.
Yep.
It's not something you support. It's something you support to get out.
Yes.
And that's why we're here to talk about this, so as to introduce to everyone housing first. It's a successful national program, whereas the same things that Craig was saying to you about love, about God, about housing, about employment, that's what Housing First is all about. Not so much just saying or writing you pursue Housing First just to get funding, but to actually be putting people in housing. So that's why we partner with the National Coalition to End Homelessness, and we'll be showing that in all throughout the community as well as introducing that.
So stay tuned to the We Agape You channel here on the People Chronicles, because there is much more to come. This is just the beginning to understanding not only the problem, but the solution and those people involved in creating and bringing about that solution. Thank you.
Thank you.